All right, Shalom. As always, I'm thankful and I'm grateful to be able to come out here once again to preach and to prophesy unto my people, being you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And according to the Holy Bible, you are the biblical Israelites. This is based off of your father's genetic line. It's about agna and paternal relations that determines whether or not you are of Jacob. This is not a so-called black or white thing. Mingling those two shades together, you get gray, and there are no gray areas in this truth. I also come out here to preach and to prophesy unto these other nations to let them know their future and their judgment also. And seeing that our people are mingled among them, we have to come out here in the open, because you can't always tell based off of the physical appearance who's who. Now, as always, before I get started, I have to give all thanks and praises unto our power, the power of Israel, not the power of any other nation. And what is his name? Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Warakwadash. Peace, blessings, much respect to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, on down to the rest of the elders who rule well within Israel. Salutations to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be, or what they may look like, pushing out this purified truth. To the rest of the church who believe as well, you men who may not be teachers or prophets, you women, sons, and daughters also. The water to Yahweh Shai, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel and the nation of Israel alone, none of this would even be possible whatsoever. So I'm downtown. Traffic isn't as lively as I would want it to be, but I came here because I have a covering just in case it decides to rain again. All right. So jumping into these scriptures, as I like to do, let's start off with the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 18. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So we live in some very proud and pompous times. We live in a time where people really feel like they got it figured out. People really feel like they don't need a most high. They don't need to listen to a higher source, something higher than them, because people are too pompous, to acknowledge through humility that they need help, that they can't do it all by themselves. But now, seeing that in this day and age, pride has really exalted itself. It has budded like a wild plant, okay? Seeing that we're in these times where everybody and their mama is feeling themselves, whether they 400 pounds, whether they 100 pounds. People are feeling themselves. Everybody thinks they're just so special. And then you also have that same attitude being carried over to the truth. You have men who speak so highly of themselves while trying to act humble. You have men, because of their length of time, very pompous, very proud and arrogant, and they'll actually belittle others because they haven't been in the truth as long as they have. Okay? That is not the attitude that a leader should have. Okay? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Let's go to Psalms chapter 10 and verse 4. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after the power. The power is not at all in his thoughts. So most of our people have the mind frame of Esau. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is not really in their thoughts. That's why certain men can make such proud statements, not understanding that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is raising up men. He's calling in pastors according to his heart, not according to how you or me feels, but based off of his own heart. And men will belittle you or mistreat you or cast you out as evil because they themselves, they feel like the Lord is really dealing with them and only them. Okay? The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after the power. The power is not at all in his thoughts. And our people follow after the so-called white man, according to John chapter 8 and 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. And seeing that these devils don't ponder on the Most High like that, they feeling themselves. They think that they're the Most High. You have a lot of men in this truth who think that they're the Most High. They're acting like you have to go through them in order to be saved. Okay? Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 5. In verse 3. Neither as being lords over the power's heritage, but being examples to the flock. A lot of men are being bad examples. A lot of men are in the spirit of being lord over brothers, are in the spirit of being a tyrant. Okay? Exercising lordship over another brother doesn't make you great. Exercising lordship over a brother, or constantly having to say how great you are, or because of your length of time, or because of the knowledge that you hold, how great you are, that doesn't make you great. Okay? And being in this ministry, we have to be servants one to another. We shouldn't be exercising lordship over another, although there is a rank, there is an order. There are men that are over me. There are men who have higher rank than me on this side. And I acknowledge that, and I honor that, and I cherish that. And with saying that also, being in a position over a brother, you also have to carry yourself a certain way. You also have to walk according to righteousness. But a lot of men, they have the attitude that they made it already. Neither as being lords over the power's heritage, but being examples to the flock. So we belong to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, but you have men trying to have you come up under them as if that's the only way. That's the key way to salvation, is coming up under him or him or him. We're supposed to be coming up under Yahushai. We're all taught by men. Now, just because we're all taught by men, if you don't come up under somebody, okay, that doesn't make you wicked. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is being numbered. That account you find in 2nd Ezra 2, which typically the Apocrypha is part of the Old Testament. So Yahushai multiple times was written about in the Old Testament because it tells you that he came in the volume of the book and it's written of him. You can find that in Hebrews. You can also find that, I believe, in Proverbs or Psalms as well. And when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another. So that's the part that a lot of men try to leave out. Being an elder, it's in your mind. See, I'm the elder. You come under me. You listen to me. You obey me. But we're supposed to be subject one to another, meaning if a brother's correcting you, regardless of your rank or how special you think you are, you're not too good to be rebuked. You're not too good to be corrected. Now, there is a respectful way of rebuking an elder. You shouldn't rebuke an elder, forcefully, damn near willing to fight the man. But no one in this ministry is too good to be reproved and rebuked, starting with myself. If something goes against the scriptures, it has to be corrected with any of us. That's just what it is, man. And a lot of men, they get offended by that. Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. Yea, all of you be subject one to another. and be clothed with humility. For the power resisteth the proud, and giveth grace to the humble. So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is dealing with the humble. But it's funny how you hear so many men who claim to be great men talk so proudly. They think the only men who can talk proud are men who are under them. But they themselves, they don't qualify as being proud, although they speak very proudly. Okay? Let's go to Matthew chapter 7 and verse 12. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. So treat your brother how you would want to be treated. Don't be trying to be, some super lord over your brother, exercising your dominion over your brother. That does not make you great. Because we need to typically learn how to be servants, how to be subject one to another, more than how to be a lord over a brother, how to be the top guy, how to be number one, how to be in first place amongst my brethren. That shouldn't be the attitude we have. The attitude that we have should be, you're my brother, and I want to treat you how I want you to treat me. So I'm going to be a servant unto you because I would want you to treat me kindly as well. Now, a lot of men, they can't even grasp that much. They don't even get that part, man. Okay? Sirach chapter 3, also known as the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3 and 17. My son, on with thy business and meekness, so shalt thou be beloved of him that is approved. So we're supposed to be doing this work in humility. We're supposed to be spiritually clothed in humility, man. Okay? Now, you have men, they think that because of themselves, that's why other men have woken up. If it wasn't because of me, or if it wasn't because of us, you wouldn't be doing this or you wouldn't be doing that. That's a very proud statement. It's because of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai raising up who he raised up when he decided to raise them up. However, we are all taught through men. Nevertheless, that does not mean that just because we all are taught by men, that it gives any man the credibility to be so proud and arrogant. Okay? Just like with me being in Kansas. I don't think there's any other man outside of one man that I've known. He might not even be in the truth anymore. But there was one other man in Kansas, and I believe he was in Wichita. He could still be teaching. If so, that's beautiful. But outside of that, in all of Kansas, and there's a difference between Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. You have men that teach in Kansas City, Missouri, but they're not in Kansas. They're in Missouri. All right? Now, here in Kansas, I'm the only man that I know of that teaches. So should I get proud and pompous if people start waking up here and I say, I was the first one. I was doing this before you. Okay? Now, there are times men step on your toes, men discredit you, and it can cause you to say that. But you have men, they just constantly rub it in men's faces without cause, man. It ain't because they're being disrespected or because someone's trying to jump rank. You have men, they just want to rub it in your face that they're better than you. Okay? They just have to make sure you know that. Sirach chapter 3 and 18. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord. So how is it that certain men who claim to be so great, or who are looked at as being so great, can be so proud and so pompous, and no one questions that? That's a little strange to me. Okay? Let's go to Psalms 25. And verse 4. Show me thy ways, O Lord Yahweh. Teach me thy paths. Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the power of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day. Remember, O Lord Yahweh, thy tender mercies and thy loving kindness, for they have been ever of old. Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions according to thy mercy. Remember thou me for thy goodness' sake, O Lord. Good and upright, the Lord Yahweh, therefore will he teach sinners in the way. Now here's the point. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. So Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is dealing with the meek. Now you have men, they have great knowledge. They have an X amount of years they've been in the truth. And then they come off so pompous and so arrogant at the same time. So that's scary because the Lord can give you this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and you still not be in the truth. Not saying certain of these men are in the truth, but these are things that are possible. These are things that are possibilities. The Lord can give you the truth and you not even be in the truth because you know it, but you're not really applying it. Or you pretend to apply it. You set up men who see you do certain things and then they speak well of you, but that's not really who you are. Okay? Now, I've made mention of this before, and I don't really speak on it, but in my early beginnings, there's a great man who I deem my elder. All right. He had given me money, but he had did it in front of everybody, man. He did it he literally broadcasted it out loud that I needed the money, man. And then handed the money to me in front of everybody. And at the same time, it felt good. You know, I wanted to cry because in my spirit, I was like, thank you, Lord. That was kind. But as I've grown, I've acknowledged that he did that wrongfully. And really, it's almost like he shamed me or he humiliated me in front of all these different brothers, man. There was a whole lot of brothers, man. All right. And he did this in front of everybody. He said, who's that brother that's short on the ends? And it was like all eyes on me, man. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. You know, that's supposed to be something that that was kind of kept to me and a few brothers or whatnot, but it was broadcasted in the open and he gave me the money in the open. Okay. But I guess because he's a great man in Israel, people just overlooked it. No one really talked about it. And at that time, I was young in the faith. I didn't even expect to even meet any of the elders because at this time I met this particular elder and I also met Aramlab. Okay. Elder Aramlab. And he actually gave me money in secret. He pulled me to the side and gave me money. Now, when you look at Elder Apostle Aramlab, I believe he a man of the Lord. I believe he's definitely sincere. He's definitely a humble man. Okay. But I can't say that all elders in Israel or all elders in GMS in particular are necessarily men of the Lord just because they are elders within GMS. Okay. The Lord is speaking the truth. The Lord is raising up normal guys to speak on things that a lot of you guys are scared to speak of who are actually affiliated with these camps because you love in secret, not in the open. Psalms 25:9, the meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3 and verse 12. Put on therefore as the elect. So we have to be clothed in humility spiritually. Put on therefore as the elect of the power, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Mashiach forgave you, so also do ye. That's how we're supposed to walk. Forgive one another. Be brotherly. Not be so proud and arrogant over your brother. Brother, I'm over you. You got your teaching style from me. You wouldn't be doing this and that if it wasn't for such and such. That's crazy, man. That is pride. That is arrogance, man. Okay? First of all, we do what we do because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai put the spirit on us to do what we do. And he used men who have labored before us to set the way, to set the example. Absolutely. But it was the Lord who did it that way. Man didn't do that, because there's a lot of people who see what we're doing. They're not waking up. They're not doing anything because it's the Lord doing all the waking up. But you have men, and I'm speaking of men particular in GMS just because those are the men I came under. Those are the elders that raised me up in the spirit. Now, seeing that those are the men who raised me up in the spirit, I'm not afraid to speak the truth, man. All right? It's just crazy that there's not very many men who are willing to speak on these things. Men who are just so great, men who are so popular, but you could tell the reason why is because they are popular. They don't want to lose that seat. Colossians 3:12, put on therefore as the elect of the power, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering. So we have to be clothed in humility, like I read in 1 Peter 5. Now let's go to Revelations chapter 11 and verse 3. And I will give power unto my two witnesses, speaking of the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom. And they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. So we're supposed to be in the spirit of humility. We're supposed to be clothed in sackcloth, but that's speaking more so in a spiritual sense, not necessarily in a literal sense. All right. Now, it's not about having a fancy garment or nothing either, but we understand that when it comes to the scripture, everything is spiritual first. Revelations 11:3, and I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. So when you look at my garment that I have on, this is actually the first garment I ever had, and it's not very fancy. You know, it's pretty much my sackcloth garment. You know, this is the garment that I first taught in. I still have it to this day, but although it's good to have a physical garment that isn't so fancy, it's really just speaking of how we carry ourselves. If you have a nice garment, so what? What really matters is, are you humble? See, you can be in a Pinto and be proud as hell. You could be in a 2023, a 2024, and still be humble. The things that you have isn't what makes you proud or humble. It's you that makes you proud or humble. And a lot of men in this truth, they fail to realize that. They think that because they could throw on a garment that looks lowly and still have a proud, pompous attitude, somehow, some way, that can work. Okay? And it doesn't work. The Lord is trying out the inner man. And we have to make sure the inner man is on point. Let's go to Revelations 16 and 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments. So remember, you have to put on as the elect. You have to be clothed in humility. Spiritually, there are things we have to do that symbolize us being clothed in the right garment. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And we don't want to walk naked. We don't want to be offending the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father willfully. We don't want to be, judged like the majority of the world is about to face. Okay? Let's go to Jude. Jude chapter 1 and verse 22. And some have compassion, making a difference. And others save with fear, pulling them out of the fire, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh. And we hate the garment spotted by the flesh because as long as we are in these bodies, we're not going to be perfect. We try to walk as perfect as possible. We try to keep our spiritual garment clean. We try to walk according to what the scriptures say, but we're not perfect. And it bothers us, man. We hate that. Okay, but the time will come where we are going to be made perfect. We are going to be made new. We're going to be changed. Okay, we're not going to be in these vile bodies like we are right now. And others save with fear, pulling them out of the fire. And that's what we do when we come out here and teach. We're hoping to pull our people out of the fire, hating even the garment spotted by the flesh. Now I want to touch on Baruch. This is the book of Baruch, chapter, it's either 3 or 5. Let me try 3 first. All right, it ain't that one. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Baruch 5 and verse 1. Baruch chapter 5 and 1. Put off, O Jerusalem, the garment of mourning and affliction. And right now, that's what we're in. We're in the garment of mourning and affliction. We're in the garment We're in the garment that's spotted by the flesh. We're in a garment that's spotted by the flesh. We're not perfect right now. We're not in a perfect state right now. Put off, O Jerusalem, the garment of mourning and affliction, and put on the comeliness of the glory that cometh from the power forever. And once we get changed, we're going to have everlasting bodies. We're going to be made perfect. But right now, our garments are spotted by the flesh. We're imperfect. We're not in our perfection right now. But our goal is to reach that one day. And that day is sooner than what we know. Let's go to the book of Sirach, also known as the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 11 and verse 14. Prosperity and adversity, life and death, poverty and riches come from the Lord. So, if all these things come from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, why should we boast about what we have? Or how much knowledge we have, or how long we've been in the faith, or how well we may speak, or who we could be? Why would we boast, man? We're supposed to be walking in humility, clothed in humility. That doesn't mean you got to walk around looking like a bum, but you walk around with a humble mind. You don't walk around proud. You don't walk around pompous. You don't get to feeling yourself. Because a lot of men, they'll bring out scriptures that go into how, wisdom puffing up. And they'll only apply that to men who are newer in the faith. And they act like that doesn't apply to the elders. Okay? We all have to keep a humble mind, man. Okay? And the fact that Moses is a good example of that, the fact that he didn't give glory to the Heavenly Father when he had caused the water to come out the rock, I believe it was, through his frustration, he had said out of his mouth like it was him doing it unto our people, okay? And that ended up pissing off the Lord because he didn't give the Lord his glory. And you have a lot of men, they'll act like it's because of them and not give the Lord his glory. And then try to act as if only men who are younger in the faith are the only ones that are proud and arrogant. Isaiah 61 in verse 6. But ye shall be named the priests of the Lord Yahweh. Men shall call you the ministers of our power. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. So in the kingdom to come, that's where we will boast ourselves. But right now we have to walk with a humble mind. Okay, right now we have to walk knowing that we're just mortal men. I'm not out here doing this because of my own strength or my own power. I'm not able to sustain myself because of my own greatness. Everything that I have, everything that I'm capable of doing, everything that I have the ability to do is because of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. It's not because of my length of time. It's not because of who I am. Okay, it's not because of none of that. It's all because of the mercy and grace of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai that he has shown unto me, that I'm able to come out here and bring out these words and teach. So in our kingdom, in the world to come, we are going to boast ourselves. But right now is not that time. Okay? But ye shall be named the priests of the Lord, not just Levi, but all the 12 tribes. We're going to be made into a kingdom of kings and priests. But ye shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our power. Ye shall eat the riches of the glory of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. All right? So we're going to boast ourselves in our kingdom. Let's go into the book of Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 23. O Lord, Yahweh, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. So we do not direct our steps. We're all predestined. No man comes into the truth because of how great some man speaks or how great some man teaches or how well known someone is. Men come into the truth based off the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Now, how did I come into the truth? I came into the truth seeking for it. Now, before I came into the truth, I believed in my spirit that who you call Jesus Christ was a black man. So I ended up going to YouTube and I typed in the search engine, I believe it was like Jesus is black or something. And I ended up coming across a IUIC video. Okay. I actually came across IUIC before GMS, but it's like right after I came across IUIC, I came across GMS. So I was like binge watching. I was just going through a lot of the videos. I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then now here I am. But what drew me from IUIC was the fact that they didn't believe in the names Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. They didn't push the mark of the beast for whatever reason, although the scriptures go into that. And in my eyes, that differentiated them from GMS. How are you not going to teach on the mark of the beast, seeing that's a main prophecy before the end comes? And we're in the time of the mark of the beast. Okay? But it was them not bringing out the true names and the mark of the beast that drew me away from them. And how you can't sleep with white woman or something like that. Okay? When I first got into the truth, I actually separated from my woman because she looks like a so-called white woman. But through the spirit, she's not no so-called white woman. And I also had a dream. That's funny. This dude that drove by in this black truck, he was mocking me and scoffing one day. He sure was driving with his head straight that time. Probably had some nightmares. But I ended up separating from my woman. But the Lord ended up bringing us back together. But the fact that I did it, I think that's why the Lord also blessed my situation with my woman. Kind of like with Abraham and Isaac. How Isaac was about to sacrifice Jacob. It was a test. So the fact that I was pretty much about to sacrifice my relationship, because I was with my woman for like 7 years before even coming into the truth. And when I heard IUIC saying you can't get with no white woman, and me being carnal, looking at her based off her visage on what she looks like, I let her go. And that was hard for me to do. But I did it because at that time I thought that was the truth. So them not using the names, them not teaching on the mark of the beast correctly, and them being carnal, not teaching that Israel doesn't just look like your common Negro. Okay, I had a dream that my lady, she was like an Issacharite in my dream. She was just standing in front of me, and I knew it was my woman, and she looked like a Latina, like a dark-skinned Latina woman. Okay? But anyway, Jeremiah 10 and 23, O Lord Yahweh, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. Let's go to Philippians 2 and 12. Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is the power which worketh in you, both to will and to do his good pleasure. To do his good pleasure. So the men that you see teaching and doing this work, it's not because of how great certain men were and how long they've been in the truth. It's because of the Lord's will that each and every one of us are able to do what we're doing. And Lord willing, we hold on, man. Now we do give reverence to our teachers. We do acknowledge who our teachers are. But sometimes some of our teachers, they go a little too far with their pride, man. And nobody touches on these things. A lot of things get said and they get swept under the rug because in your mind, well, they're great teachers. This must be biblical. This must be biblical how they're acting. They must have a scripture to back up this behavior. That's how you think. Not even knowing. No, they're not acting spiritual whatsoever. Okay? And none of us are perfect. There's a lot of things I have to work on, and seeing that I have a lot of things to work on, should I not speak on things just because I have things myself to work on? Okay? The things that I have to work on, I don't really speak that on other brothers. Things that I don't do, that's what I bring up. Okay? For it is the power which worketh in you, both to will and to do his good pleasure. So the Lord works within us. It's all about predestination. We're not in this truth because of how long somebody else was doing it and our style came from them, and because of them we wouldn't be doing such and such. That's just proud, man. It's just very proud. So let's touch on Ephesians chapter 1. Ephesians chapter 1 and verse 4. According as he hath chosen us in him. So the Heavenly Father through his Son, the thing is he actually chooses you, but people actually believe they choose God. That's actually arrogance in its own, to feel like you choose the Most High. He doesn't allow people to perceive that he literally controls everything. He allows people to think in their mind that there's a free will. And they do what they want to do based off what they want to do, when it's really him directing people's steps. Okay? Ephesians 1 and 4, according as he hath chosen us in him before the foundation of the world. So the elect were chosen before the foundation of the world. Even if you don't like a man, if he's called and chose from the beginning, there's nothing you can do about that. If you don't believe he's a man of the Lord, but the Lord chose that man, what are you going to do? Because this man who's been in the truth the X amount of years says he's not a man of the Lord, does that mean he's not a man of the Lord now? Although he's serving the Lord in truth and in sincerity. Okay? A lot of you men, you got to wake the hell up. According as he had chosen us in him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before him in love. And love is important, man. And love according to the scriptures is not love according to this world. Let's jump down to verse 11. Ephesians chapter 1 and 11. In whom also ye have obtained an inheritance, being predestinated according to the purpose of him who worketh all things after the counsel of his own will. So everything is based off of the Lord's will. And that includes the men that he deals with. Okay, you people got to wake up and set aside your ego, set aside your pride. You might feel like this man's not a man of the Lord, or this man's bucking up against the elders, or this man's trying to have men come up under him, or this man doesn't want to be a part of a camp because he doesn't want to follow order. You got to come up under us if you want to have salvation, and the list goes on. Okay, a lot of men are in the wrong spirit. Jeremiah chapter 3 and 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord Yahweh, for I am married unto you, And I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion's, and everybody's not coming. And that includes men in this ministry. Just because you got a camp of 10, 20 people, there might only be 3 men who are of the elect in that camp. Verse 15, and I will give you pastors according to mine heart. Oh, he's a Johnny come lately. He don't know nothing. You know, he's an amateur at best, right? Even if a man isn't talking proud, a man's just bringing out the facts, you'll get called arrogant. You'll get told that you're bucking up to the elders all because you're teaching the truth. And you're saying things that affect them. And they don't look at you as important. They don't see your words as void. In their eyes, you're supposed to be subject to me. I'm your elder. I don't got to listen to you. Okay? And I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. So the Lord's doing the picking here. He's doing the choosing. John chapter 15 and verse 16. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. So the Lord chooses us, not no man. Can't no man say in his heart, well, because I don't like you and because I've been in this truth X amount of years, now the Lord don't like you either. No, everything is done off predestination. It's not based off of your opinions and how you feel. If a brother's doing the work, what can you say? A lot of men try to take away other men's credibility because low key they're jealous and they don't want to admit that they're jealous. Okay? For the life of me, I can't understand how so many men are jealous of men who have came in this truth after them, who are actually more on fire than they are. Instead of being inspired, they start hating, and then they'll start saying things like, oh, you're trying to have men come under you, right? Or they'll say things like, just because you on fire, or just because you know how to quote scriptures, don't make you a man of the Lord. Men will do everything in their power to try to tarnish you and to really have you feeling like your works are in vain, okay? Even if they're great in the eyes of Israel. They make edifying videos, but their spirit ain't right. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. Elder Apostle Tahar didn't choose me. Elder Apostle Gabar didn't choose me on down. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is doing the choosing if I'm chose. And they didn't call me. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai called me. But I have chosen you and ordained you that ye should go and bring forth fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever ye shall ask of the Father in my name, he may give it you. So we have to consider that we don't choose ourselves. Okay? He actually chooses us, which also proves that there's no such thing as free will. Everything is predestinated and your life is written out for you. However it goes is how the Lord wrote it for you. Now let's go to Matthew chapter 20 and verse 16. So the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. For many be called, but few chosen. And there's a lot of men, because they want to have that that prime seat of being exalted above other men, right? They want to have that seat of preeminence. They want to be the dominant force in the room. They're going to be last in the kingdom. Now me, I do desire to make it. In fact, I'm not going to lie to you. I literally desire to be next to Yahweh Shai. I ain't going to lie. I desire that. I want to literally be next to Yahweh Shai. And that might make a lot of men mad. That's cool. Whatever. But let me read this again, because I'm kind of losing what I was about to say here. So the last shall be first, and the first last. So yeah, I desire to be next to Yahweh Shai. But with that desire, I'm not trying to work any ill towards my neighbor. I'm not trying to be deceptive. You know, I'm not trying to go about it like a thief and a robber. I'm trying to go about it the right way. Okay? I have no problem being a servant unto my brothers. I have no problem just waiting for the Lord to exalt me. Because right now, men like myself, we're last. Okay? Men don't even consider men like myself. As much as the Lord shows that he's with me, as much as the Lord be showing me chariots, people don't even want to consider he might be a man of the Lord. He might be one of the prophets of old. Because other men, they might post up a chariot video once a year. Everybody, oh, good. That's spiritual, brother. The angels are with you. And you got like 20 people commenting. Okay? I post up a chariot video. There's a few people. Okay? And I'm grateful for those who do from time to time. But you would think certain things would pump you up and will put it in your mind like, wow, you know, the Lord is actually showing signs, man. Signs and wonders through this man. And that's not the brag and boast. That's just being honest, man. So if I'm bugged out, if what I'm saying is wrong when it comes to the elders, why does the Lord keep revealing chariots unto me? Why does he keep revealing things unto me in general? All right. Now let's go to 2 Timothy's chapter 1 and verse 9. Who had saved us and called us with an holy calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose and grace, which was given us in Mashiach, Yahushua, before the world begun. So it's not based off of how great we are or X amount of years, but you're literally called in this ministry based off of the Lord's will. And if it's of the Lord's will that you be of the elect, because you were called and chose from the beginning, that wasn't your will either. It wasn't based off of your works or how great you are. Okay? It's all because of the Lord, not because of what some man says. Some man likes you, that makes you a man of the Lord. You got an elder that watches your videos, right? You have an elder who favors you. Does that make you the elect? No, it does not. It does not. Okay? Who had saved us and called us with an holy calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose. Because everything is his will. And grace which was given us in Mashiach Yahushua before the world begun. Now let's go to Psalms 37. Psalms 37 and 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord Yahweh, and he delighteth in his way. So the reason why we're in this truth is because the Lord guided us to this truth. It's not because of Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Gabar teaching for X amount of years. It's because that was the Lord's will, and he could have used anybody. Those he uses are those he chose. Okay? We can't brag and boast on that. I can't brag and boast because out of everybody in Topeka or even possibly Kansas, I'm the only man doing this work. I can't brag and boast on that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I didn't control that. I didn't write that to happen from the beginning of time. Okay? I didn't write in my own will to still have the ability to come out here and do this work. Okay? Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. So even if someone doesn't like us, even if someone in this truth who claims to be great or is looked at as great or is great, if they don't like you, if the Lord is with you, there's nothing that can be done. Okay? But men's ego, they get in the way. Their judgment gets blinded by their stupid opinion. Let's go to John chapter 6 and 44. No man can come to me except the Father which has sent me draw him. Not because the Elder Apostle Tahar or Gabar, which these are my teachers. These are men that I love very much. These are men that I will lay my life down for. These are men that I consider to be men of the Lord. Okay? But that does not give them preeminence to at times speak proudly. Okay? They do. They speak proudly. And the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is not with that, man. For any of us. All right? Don't speak so proudly. No man can come to me except the Father, which hath sent me, draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. So we can't do nothing unless Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai gives us the ability. It has nothing to do with who accepts us or who doesn't accept us. How he or she or they feel. It's not about that. It's all about predestination. It's all about the Lord's will. Okay? Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 5. Hear the word of the Lord Yahweh, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified. But he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. So you have certain brothers who get outcasted, okay, who get treated like the black sheep, who aren't necessarily wicked, who aren't necessarily on the bad side of the Lord, but men will cast them out as evil. Whole camps may cast out a man, and that whole camp will be wicked, and that one man that got casted out, he might have been the only elect out of that whole camp. Or you might have a man who's by himself. You have men speaking ill on this man, and most of these men aren't even men of the Lord. But that one man who everybody's looking at as funny or as a weirdo, although he's teaching the same doctrine, he's on fire, he's being a brother, but for some strange reason, men are making up lies or saying things that don't add up. A lot of men are going to have a rude awakening. Just know that. Isaiah 66 and 5. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified. But he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. And a lot of men think the Lord is with them. Talking about, let the Lord be glorified. Let's go to Romans chapter 12 and verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. But yet you have men who are being ill and evil towards their own brother. Let's go to Romans chapter 2. And 21. Thou therefore which teacheth another, teacheth thou not thyself? So a lot of men, they might have knowledge. You've been in this truth for years. But are you not teaching yourself? Are you not applying the words that you're trying to tell others to follow? Thou therefore which teacheth another, teacheth thou not thyself? Thou that preachest, a man should not steal, dost thou steal? Thou that sayest, a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery? Thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? Thou that makest thy boast of the law, through the breaking the law, dishonorest thou power. For the name of the power is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written. And that sounds like IUIC right there. Okay? But anyway, when you look at a lot of our people, they might teach a good game, they speak a good game, but they're not actually following what they're saying. That's why if I rebuke somebody, if I speak on something, I always try to make sure, do my best that I'm not doing that. If I'm speaking on you for not being a brother, I better make sure I'm being a brother when it's time to show up and show out. Okay? I can't just be out here talking about, oh, you men are proud, you're pompous, this and that. But then I'm over here proud and pompous. Oh, I know I'm the elect, right? I know I'm going to make it. I'm out here doing this and ain't nobody going to tell me I ain't of the elect. Like, I ain't talking like that, right? I'm not saying, oh, because you came in after me, you ain't on my level. You just a Johnny come lately. Okay, although there are men who are disrespectful, they don't respect the rank. Okay, to hell with those guys. But I'm speaking of men who are sincere, being down talked on, being belittled. But it's all good. We'll suffer the humility and the shame even from our own brethren. Matthew 7. Let's go into that rude awakening. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 20. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. So we have to be about action. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? So you might have whole camps saying this. And that whole camp be casted out as being wicked, because they had ill intent in their heart towards brothers who were of Yahushua. Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So you're going to have brothers who might look at another brother as evil, but they themselves are the ones who's going to be casted away. So you got to be careful how you speak on men. Don't think that just because you have the numbers and one brother might not have those numbers behind him, you might take it as that brother's in the wrong because no one's listening to him or no one's taking his word for anything, which is not that brother's word, it's the words of the Lord. All right? Let's go to Sirach 3 and 24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment. Yeah, a lot of men are being deceived. They're deceiving themselves. Oh, you gotta be under GMS, right? If you're not under GMS, you're not gonna make it. You Johnny come latelys, you're not on no level. If it wasn't for my teaching style, or if it wasn't for our teaching style, if it wasn't for us doing this and doing that, you wouldn't know such and such. Just because the Lord used you to set the example as the forerunner doesn't give you any excuse or reason to be pompous or arrogant. Because you could be in this truth 20 years before another brother and you still not be over that man in the spirit. There could be a man who came in the truth last year and he might be one of the 12, all you know. But you men, and when I say you men, this is just a general statement. But you men, you just throw out these broad statements. You know, you say certain things and it's like who are you speaking on? Who are you referencing? Because it always does go to IUIC or it goes to Vocab Malone or Guerrilla Hebrew, but you can tell they're speaking of other men and they're not saying it. Men who are teaching the same thing as them, but they'll cop out and say other men's names. A lot of men feel a certain way about men. They're not even talking. They're not bringing it up. They're beating around the bush, man. They feel that you're not a man of the Lord. They don't like you because they're deceived by their own vain opinion. All right? Now, I believe that the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, being Elder Apostle Tahar and Gabar, Elder Aramlab or whatever, there are men that I believe that are definitely men of the Lord. But does that mean they don't go off or they don't say things that might not be questionable, that might not necessarily be in the spirit? Because the little guys, we get shunned for everything. Everything we do is wrong. Okay? A lot of you guys are idolizing certain men. You're making certain men your God. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment. And a lot of men have an evil suspicion when it comes to those who teach outside of camps. They looking at us with a side eye, like we're up to something, like we're trying to come up some other way. And that is not the case, not with me. It's just how I've always been. I've always been alone. That's how I started. No one else is here. What do you want me to do? 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 3. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, and a lot of men hate their brother only because their brother's doing good. Their brothers are in the right spirit. Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than the lovers of the power. So a lot of men are high-minded. Let's go down to 13. But evil men and seducers, and a lot of men are being seduced by wicked, evil Israelites because of their length of time. They rocking you to sleep. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. And I've learned through the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. That's who I've learned from. Okay? Let's just be honest. I didn't learn this on my own. But sometimes even my teachers go off. But certain men, they act like because they're our teachers, they are over us, that you just can't say nothing. You got to be mute on everything. That means if one of the elders commit adultery with one of the brother's wives, well, he's an elder. I can't say nothing. I can't rebuke an elder. Shut your ass up, man. A lot of you men, you're cowards. All right? There's a time to speak, and there's a time not to speak. When it comes to reproving and rebuking, there really ain't no wrong time to speak when it comes to the brothers, man. It's just weird that the Lord has a spirit on me and few other men to say certain things that other men are scared to say. That says something. But continue thou in the things which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them. So don't think I'm disrespecting or insulting my elders. That's why I want to close it with this. And that from a child thou hast known the Holy Scriptures. So when you first come into this truth, you're a newborn child, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation, through faith which is in Mashiach. All Scripture is given by inspiration of the power and is profitable for doctrine, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, thoroughly furnished unto all good works. So that's what it's about, man. We all have to be corrected. We all have to make changes. We all have to be on point. Okay? It's easy to get to feeling yourself. It's easy to get all pompous and arrogant. But there's no need for all that. We're just mortals, man. Okay? We're just average guys who work 9 to 5s. Okay? Some of us own businesses. But we're in captivity even unto this very day. Some of us came in 35 plus years ago. Some of us came in 20, 10, 5. Whenever we came in, it's all our predestination, man. None of us can brag or boast on that. So I'm going to go on ahead and wrap it up. And I'm going to give all thanks and praises unto our power. The power of Israel, not the power of any other nation. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Warakak Wadash. Lord willing, that was simple and edifying. Until next time, Shalom.